Welcome everybody to the Sunset Flip Wrestling Podcast, your home for all wrestling, everything wrestling. What's up, fellas? Happy Saturday.
What's up? How's it going?
Yeah, same old. But let's get right into it. We got a lot to break down. So let's get right into this hefty podcast episode of the good old fashion wrestling.
There's a lot going on. I mean, usually it's like WWE, AEW, but now you have to include TNA with everything that's been happening with NXT and TNA. So there's a lot going on. So we'll start breaking down each and every one of them. We'll start off with NXT Battleground, right? Which is kicking off tonight, right?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
Yeah, tomorrow, June 9th.
Oh, okay. My apologies. So I'm going to list some matches. Guys, tell me what your predictions are. We'll start off with Shayna Baszler versus Lola Vice in an NXT Underground match.
This seems interesting. I'm going Lola Vice here.
I'm thinking that too. Just for the terms of them pushing Lola to be like the next big star, it would make sense. I mean, giving Shayna a win would be nice too, because obviously the way they've been booking her as like this dominant forward. But I think it's going to be Lola. But I think Shayna's going to get some big spots in her match, especially since it's the underground match. So it's going to be a wild one.
Yeah, I have to agree with you here. I think obviously the heavy favorite is Shayna Baszler because of her MMA background experience, right? But I think in this situation you kind of want to push the rising star. And Lola Vice has been on a fiery run in NXT, and that's where you want to go with. So I'm actually excited because it is an NXT Underground match. So and they both have MMA type backgrounds, right? So it'll be fun to watch. So okay, general consensus seems to be Lola Vice. Next we have the ladder match for the NXT Women's North American title match. Very exciting. I think first mid card title, right?
Yeah.
So we have Sol Ruka versus Lash Legend versus Fallon Henley, Jada Parker versus Michin versus Kalani Jordan.
I'm gonna go Sol Ruka.
I really want to say Michin here. I like she's down there for reasons.
This is the beauty, because you picked the one, Henry picked the one, and we're all gonna have different answers here. So I'm going with Lash Legend.
Lash Legend.
I'm actually going with Lash Legend just because of the storyline that she has in place with Trick Williams.
Can't go wrong with that pick either way. You can't go wrong with that.
Yeah, and honestly, you can't go wrong with all three of our answers, because I think out of all three, I know B said Michin, and Michin is somebody who's been there for a while and hasn't really gotten that spotlight, right? She's a veteran and she's well deserving of a title, right? Then you just mentioned Sol Ruka, who's a rising star, a fast rising star at that, right? And I just went with Lash Legend because I feel like they're showcasing her a lot lately. And she, her and Trick Williams could be the new, a power couple, right? A face power couple for NXT. And she's been getting a lot of screen time as of late. So I'm like, all right, maybe they can place the title on her. And then the other three competitors in the match, you can also make a case for it. But I think Michin, Lash Legend, and Sol Ruka are three heavy favorites in that match. So I'm actually kind of glad we all picked different answers on this one.
Yeah, I mean, any of those could win. I mean, I think the push that Lash and Sol have been getting makes sense, but Michin not getting the spotlight she deserves with being able to hold the title, I think that's a big thing too. So definitely it could go either way. It's gonna be interesting tomorrow. I'm gonna tell you that much.
Yeah. Then we have for the NXT tag team titles, Nathan Frazier and Axiom versus the OC, Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson.
I'm going with the OC, baby.
I was thinking that too, but I'm gonna go with Nathan and Axiom.
Oh, really?
I think they retain. Yeah.
Okay.
Because it looks like, from my opinion, it looks like the OC is going to be involved with AJ, going forward. So that's my logic to it. Because if you're going to have the OC on NXT exclusively or more often, that means they're not going to be on SmackDown. Right now, obviously, they just show them on SmackDown, so it's going to be interesting. That's the best way.
It is.
And you can go either way. Another match
for that case, you could go with either team. To be honest with you, I'm leaning towards the OC, Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson. They've been getting somewhat of a big push as of late, right? Showing up in NXT, attacking Nathan Frazier and Axiom, right? And then also having AJ Styles back on SmackDown. So they've been showcased more, right? So if they're showcased more, showcase them with NXT tag titles, right? So that's why I'm going with the OC on this one. Then we have what should be an exciting triple threat match. You have Obafemi versus Wesley versus Joe Coffey for the NXT North American title.
That's a hard one. This is a hard one.
Because I know you guys are probably torn between two. But I'm curious to what you guys are.
Well, actually, since you said we're torn between two, why don't you go first and give your pick then?
Okay.
I'm going Wesley.
You're going Wesley. I like that pick. I think I'm going to go with Obafemi here to retain. Just for the simple reason that he's still, he hasn't had the championship for quite so long, right? And I feel like NXT will want to continue having him, on this dominant run. But I would not be surprised if we get some sort of interference. And I'm not saying with Gallus on Joe Coffey's
Yeah, right.
Right. I'm thinking we get a couple of rascals from TNA. This is what I'm predicting.
Rascals
from TNA to back up Wesley.
Talk about Nash Carter making his comeback to WWE.
If the Rascals make the appearance in NXT, I think that would be huge. NXT and WWE, NXT, WWE, and TNA, they have this partnership going, and I feel like you can bring them in, and that would be a great moment, right? And I think this is not the first time in this episode that we're going to mention NXT and TNA, but yeah, I feel like we might see some Rascals, and who knows? I think Wesley could, the Rascals could help Wesley capture the NXT North American title, right?
My pick was Oba too, by the way.
Oh, okay. So, and then Bees was Wesley, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm. I think I agree with your point that it's just you're trying to make him into a dominant champion.
Yeah.
And one of the faces of NXT, the future going forward, and push him to the moon. What better way to push him to the moon than have a hard fought match against two great competitors, have him come out on top? So
yeah,
that's my logic for it. I mean, Wesley, as great as he is, and how he was a dominant champion as well, I think Wesley, like you said, has bigger things planned for him, which I think involves the main roster at some point. So we'll see what's going on with that as well.
Yeah. Then we have for the NXT Women's title, Roxanne Perez versus Jordynne Grace.
This is the only time I feel like Roxanne's in trouble, but she's gonna win it. I don't think they're gonna have. I think Grace being back in WWE is kind of important. Like, she's come a long way from her fall off, her quote unquote, no pun intended, fall from grace, from a couple of years ago. But so it's good for one. It's good to see her back in the ring, in a WWE ring,
right?
At that. But I think it's just more of a like, hey, like showcase TNA in a losing fashion. I don't think Jordynne Grace is back in WWE altogether. So I think it's just them going to showcase.
Roxanne. Yeah, Jordynne Grace is there for like I think three appearances, maybe.
Supposedly, remember she had a 6-figure contract for 3 appearances.
Okay.
So she's already done 2, so Sunday would make the 3rd.
Yeah, she's not leaving with the belt, with a WWE belt.
Okay. Even though I will say, if she did, that would be a hell of a swerve.
Yeah.
I mean, she's back on WWE full as a part time, but she's on there as is now.
I wouldn't.
Just.
Well, I wouldn't say she's a full timer, but I would say it's sort of the route when Christian from AEW won the TNA title, and he was appearing on both shows.
But then he retired the belt. Like he wasn't there to actually wrestle; he was there just to showcase.
Right, but he did make a couple appearances here and there, so it could be sort of a situation like that. And then somebody from, of course, Roxanne or whoever else they plan on using comes and wins the title back, and then gets the title back in WWE. It could be a point because remember, at this point, you're trying to push both shows. So, my logic is if Jordan Grace wins, yeah, now you're talking about she's a double champion on 2 promotions. That is a hell of a way to boost TNA, but also boost NXT.
But if she, so logically speaking, if Roxanne were to lose and Jordan Grace brings the NXT championship back to TNA,
right?
You just lost your number one.
That's
belt.
a win-win for both companies, to be honest with you.
I don't think you're losing the title per se, because if Jordan Grace is allowed to defend it between both brands, then that's something.
Yeah, I don't. All right, I personally don't think Jordan Grace leaves with the NXT Women's title. If she does, that would be great.
Right.
But the fact that, and we're going to speak on this later on in the show, the fact that Jordan Grace has an open challenge at TNA against all odds, I feel like, all right, NXT gets the win here, and then Jordan Grace gets the win afterwards, right?
Which
it makes sense. It's booking.
Yeah, so I feel like when it comes to Roxanne Perez, I think it's either she's going to cheat to win or somebody is going to interfere in this match.
I will say one name that people haven't been talking about. I know she's been training, but she's not cleared yet. I would say Cora Jade.
I was just thinking about Cora Jade.
Cora Jade. What's a better way? Have somebody help Roxanne, and Cora Jade and her are both heels. So what better way to help each other? It sort of formed that duo again. But then eventually it leads to that turn where Cora Jade will finally get her moment and Roxanne moves up. Because that's what it was really building towards. So when Cora Jade went down with the injury, obviously we know they had to sort of pivot. So they moved Roxanne to fill the void in the heel division. And she's been doing great. So it makes sense logically and storyline purpose wise.
Yeah, I like that. And then we have the main event, Trick Williams versus Ethan Page for the NXT title. But then there's a swerve, right? If Ethan Page wins the match, Trick Williams is gone from NXT.
And thus begins his reign to go with Carmelo in the main roster. Ethan Page is winning today.
I think Trick Williams wins. I don't think they're gonna pull him up to the roster yet.
To be honest with you, I don't even want to give you an answer because I don't know.
No, Soto.
No,
doing this hat.
No. I'll give you no. Here's the thing. Ethan Page, for you to bring in Ethan Page, which it could be a valuable free agent, right? And so far the company loves him. They love his work so far in the 2 weeks that he's been here. You're gonna have him lose in your debut match.
I was always high on Ethan Page back then. I remember one of the old podcast episodes I did, I said he would be a perfect fit for WWE.
Right, and then again with Trick Williams, he is currently the face of NXT. It's like you're gonna have him lose.
What about a disqualification? What about a disqualification? What about a situation where somebody interfered? Yeah, Ethan Page wins the match, but Trick Williams.
Honestly, I don't want to DQ in the main event match. Unless you plan something, unless you have bigger plans for Trick and Ethan Page as in a feud, don't give me a.
But you're protecting both of them if you do it in that sense, because in that sense, Trick Williams is still the face and Ethan Page is still the future. So I mean, because think about it, you are going to get interference because Ethan
I mean, if there was some way
he took out Oro and he took out freaking Gnome. So I mean,
yeah, they could cause a distraction, allowing Trick Williams to pick up the victory. I mean,
which is that's fine, but a DQ would be a terrible decision as at the main event.
Yeah, no. There's no shot this ends in a DQ. Now, interference, absolutely.
It can end in a DQ, but would it be a good finish? Not really.
No.
At the end of the day, you're trying to protect both wrestlers. You're trying to protect him as the face and Ethan Page as the future. So it's sort of like one of those things that's sort of like a hard situation to pick.
You want to talk about
who's gonna win?
great work as a man behind the curtain? Triple H, since he's been in WWE, has not missed since he's now the face of creative, right?
Yeah.
Can we talk about how Shawn Michaels has not missed in like almost 3.5 years of work? So well, I'm not putting a blemish in his thing now. Making it's just like this. Shawn Michaels has literally not missed in like 3.5 years, and I think he's gonna start missing now.
Yeah, no, I get
Yeah.
it.
And you know the fact that we're here talking about NXT Battleground predictions, but then I included, could we get a TNA invasion? I feel like it's very, very possible, right?
I think it's leading towards that. Maybe Survivor Series somehow.
I feel like you could get a TNA interference in the North American title triple threat match. You would get some type of TNA invasion in the NXT women's title match. And believe it or not, you can probably get a TNA invasion after the NXT title match, right? Because for those who don't know, one of TNA's most talented stars, Josh Alexander, he once teamed with Ethan Page as the North.
I remember that.
So I mean,
you could right the wrongs of the WWF versus ECW invasion storyline. You could right those wrongs right now and have a TNA versus NXT invasion angle for 6 months. 8 months.
Exactly. You could drag it out till Survivor Series.
Yeah. If you're putting that as a hypothetical, and this is the beginning, you could really do a lot of damage and start rotating guys. So those who aren't available on TV that want more TV time, go to TNA. Those who want TNA to try the bigger stage, go to NXT. You can rotate guys left and right, both men and women. So if that's an angle that you're hinting at as a possibility, you could right the wrongs of 20-something years ago and make it work out.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's doable. It can happen. Remember, with the WCW ECW invasion, right?
Yeah.
In 2001.
Yeah.
It started in March, right? And it dragged all the way to November where it finished at Survivor Series.
Right.
In a winners take all match. So they really had 8 months of storyline?
Roughly.
You can do that with WWE and TNA, and the beauty of it, you could do it in TNA, you could do it in WWE.
What's NXT? What's NXT is Tuesday? What's TNA? Thursdays?
I think it's Thursdays, maybe. I know sometimes they do shows on Fridays.
On Access, yep.
So you could really, in essence, monopolize for 8 months, for 5, 4, 6, 7, 8, for 5, 6 months. You could have WWE on Monday, NXT on Tuesday, TNA, WWE on Thursday or Friday, and you got SmackDown going on. Like, you could really, And that's just,
I feel like this could be a trial run, right? Because with TNA, with this whole TNA NXT, they're focusing right now on NXT, and I feel like if this becomes a huge success, then you can think about doing TNA versus WWE and the main roster, right? But I feel like right now it's going to be NXT, so it's going to be Tuesdays when NXT airs, and then TNA.
Thursday, just because Tuesday, just for argument's sake, right now, Tuesday, Thursday.
It's because of the USA. It's because of they're moving off USA and moving to mainstream cable, so it's a better way to spotlight them. And actually, honestly, if you think about it, it might help TNA get a regular cable deal too, because right now they're on Access TV. I know people have Access TV, but it's limited in households, so that might be a way to help them too. So yeah, I'm for it.
We move on to a storyline that has the attentions of everyone. Liv Morgan and Dominik Mysterio.
So when you will beat up Dom for touching your girlfriend?
Yo, and it's her birthday today. Shout out Liv Morgan. Shout out Liv.
There's a lot of wrestler birthdays coming up. And
Yeah.
We don't care about other wrestlers. We care about Liv Morgan right now.
I mean, we care about all the rest of it. We're a wrestling podcast, so we got to care about all the rest of it. So
Yeah. But how are you guys like? What's your reaction with this storyline? Because it seems like
This has been
it's
so
heating
much
up.
fun.
It's heating up, right?
Mhm.
Love
You
every
know,
bit of it.
it went from the revenge tour for Liv Morgan was to take out Ripley, take her championship, but she's not done there. She wants her
Yeah.
man now, right? Like I feel like I'm liking this storyline, right? I feel like, believe it or not, like Dom and Liv Morgan have shown right now in the 2 weeks that they have chemistry, right?
they do.
And the fact that Finn Balor keeps C blocking, it just makes it all that it makes it all much funnier, right?
It's okay. So it's okay. So you can say it because we're not a PG podcast.
Oh, we're not. Right, well, I mean, we're not.
You can say
But,
you can say cock blocking. It's okay.
but where do you think this storyline leads to?
The breakup of the
Dom
family.
leaving.
Okay.
Rhea and Liv go at it. And then now you got to find new ways to incorporate Judgment Day, which, there's cracks as is.
Yeah.
So, and you can kind of call Dom the glue guy and everything. Finn created it, but Damien's the face since there's no Rhea, right? Mommy's gone, so it is what it is. And Dom's been pretty prevalent in everything that's been going on, every title match, every big match. Dom is always involved. So
Right.
what happens when Dom's not involved anymore?
Yeah. I mean, I think we're again the cracks are everywhere within the Judgment Day. Because Dominik Mysterio is going to drift off. He's going to cave into Liv Morgan. We've seen last episode of Monday Night Raw.
Like, what do you expect? He's a kid.
I mean, listen, to be honest with you, if Liv Morgan looked at me the way that she looks at Dominik
I'm
Mysterio,
selling.
I'm folding.
I am like a fucking.
I'm folding.
If you say no, you're an idiot. You are
Yeah,
folding 10
I'm
times.
folding.
every
So the fact that he's already he's already caving in, and I know you mentioned Dominik Mysterio being the glue. I feel like the one person who is trying to be the glue in a sense is Finn, by having everybody trying to concentrate on being dominant, because with Damian Priest, yeah, right now you could say he's the leader of Judgment Day, but he's focused on Drew McIntyre, right? But then he keeps on going to Dominik and saying, "Yo, you're gonna have to handle that because Rhea's not gonna like that." So all automatically, Damian is siding with Rhea, and he will always will. Dominic's already drifting off to Liv Morgan, and then you have JD McDonough and Finn Balor kind of like, all right, yeah, exactly. But speaking of Rhea, though, it's been reported that she's not going to be back by SummerSlam, which is kind of unfortunate, because we all thought that that would be a good timeline for her to return,
especially where the feud's going right now.
Yeah, I mean, we know that she suffered an injury, a shoulder injury in April, obviously vacating the Women's World Championship. Now, the question is, when is Rhea coming back? Because the fact is, she opted to go for she opted to do rehab on her shoulder instead of surgery.
Right. So I'm guessing, if my guess is, if she opted for rehab, obviously maybe she had to get the surgery and they didn't really announce it, and the rehab wasn't going well. It's sort of like one of those injuries that if you can't do anything or get any movement in it, then you're gonna have to opt for the surgery.
What did you do? She tore it, or what was the actual breakdown of her injury?
I don't know if they ever went into detail.
If it's a separated shoulder, like for example, like current Knicks power forward Julius Randle, then you could rehab it. But the problem is, once that socket is worn, it'll keep coming off until it becomes a dislocated shoulder. And
Right.
now,
I was thinking Julius Randle too, so that's a good example.
what is it?
I was
No,
thinking Julius Randle
that's
too.
a great example.
That's
Oh,
a good
yeah.
example.
I mean, you can a separated shoulder is not bad. Once you dislocate it, it's over. That's
Okay,
any
so-
dislocation, you're done.
So from what I'm reading, it's an AC joint sprain.
Oh, okay. So all right. So that's like a quarterback's injury where the bone.
Yeah,
basically
it was,
breaks, but it's not
and you know,
broken.
obviously it was when she got attacked by Liv Morgan. When Liv threw her to the wall, she went shoulder first.
Yeah. So you can. I mean, you'll probably realize it if you really focus on it. If they bring up the injury when she comes back, she'll have a giant bump.
Yeah,
And that's from you could rehab it, but the bump's still going to be there.
yeah, you could see the bump when she, like, that episode of Monday Night Raw where she vacated the championship. You saw the
yeah. So
it kind of looked like a separated
Oh,
shoulder,
no.
but it was
yeah. There's no because of how your shoulders are wound up, how they're built. Once you break that bone, there's no repairing it. Like you could actually repair it, but the slightest inconvenience, you'll feel like a pinch, and then the bone will start protruding. But
yeah.
it's nothing like you can't. You could function, but when it comes to wrestling, so many drops to your upper back, your shoulders, you can't really afford to. Because after the AC joint comes your collarbone, and then now you're in real trouble once you break a collarbone.
Yep.
So I mean, we all thought SummerSlam was going to be the timeline. The return, it might be further than that. I mean, I'm not gonna go all the way and say it's going to be Rumble, but I feel like with this storyline, they're going to stretch it out as soon as possible. Like, we might get Liv and Rhea maybe next Mania. And I'm going that far.
Yeah.
And I'm going that far because I feel like if she's going to take time past SummerSlam, right, you can have Team Liv versus Team Rhea at Survivor Series, right?
Yeah.
And then obviously we're going to wait for the moment where Dominik turns on Rhea and fully aligns himself with Liv.
Now,
It's only a matter of time.
With Survivor Series, are we going to go back to the traditional Survivor Series with the tag matches?
I think right now you're going to
unless the War Games
have a return.
Because we know War Games is a big part of Survivor Series.
Right, but I feel like the War Games that we're going to get is going to involve all members of the bloodline.
Well, yeah, that we know. That's
that we know. Unless we have another War Game. I mean, and then the other War Games match is going to be women's.
Yeah.
So I mean,
what does it look like so far? What are the early ideas? If it's Bloodline versus Bloodline, then that makes sense. If they said do that now.
Yeah, I think that's the direction they're going with. I mean, I think it's too early to tell, but the Bloodline, yeah, that's definitely going to be one of the matches.
We could get Team Liv versus if she could come back, we could get Team Liv versus Team Rhea at
yeah.
That would be an interesting.
That makes sense too. You do a Raw versus SmackDown War Games. You could do for the women, but then you create a narrative going to the Rumble, thus going to the Chamber, or not Chamber, the what's the pay-per-view before Mania, or then past it, going right to Mania.
Yeah.
Right? No, that it used to be January, right? December,
Yeah.
January. Now it seems like it's coming back even further now to November, where they're starting to build Mania storylines.
Yeah.
So if they decide to bring back, if The Rock comes back, Roman comes back, and when is Roman come back? When's they even gonna? When will that go down?
Rumor is Survivor Series. I mean, not Survivor, SummerSlam. That's the rumor. So
SummerSlam.
I think there was a rumor that he's scheduled to appear the week before SummerSlam.
So that's one thing. And then when's The Rock coming back? The Rock and Cody have to
exactly
back up again.
And don't forget, we also got The Rock and Roman too. Don't forget about that too, because that's also another one that's been heavily discussed for years. Rock and Roman. So let's not.
That's probably gonna be 42. To be quite honest, because they already booked it for 41.
There's so many layers to this Bloodline storyline because technically Solo is saying that he's the head of the table until Roman Reigns returns. But obviously we know that. But we'll talk about that in a later segment. But yeah, going back to Rhea, it is disappointing she's not coming back by SummerSlam. But they can't. They could extend this their feud to, like you said, WrestleMania. But I think there's going to be a sort of a blowback at Survivor Series. I think that's the first. They're going to have a trilogy of matches, concluding at WrestleMania. That's my opinion.
Yeah, they're gonna have a custody of Dominik Mysterio match.
It'd be fantastic.
Dominik on a stick match.
It just depends. It just depends on
you know what I feel is gonna happen. You're gonna get a Rhea Ripley match versus Liv Morgan, and you're gonna have Dominik
special referee.
No. Well, okay, I like that, but Dominik Mysterio is going to be hanging from a shark cage.
We just seen that with Darby. We want to see Dom do that for a good 25-minute match.
He's going to be stuck up there in the shark
cage. Put him in the cage.
That's like the Eddie
Guerrero. Put him in the cage.
Yeah.
Winner wins custody of Dom.
Yeah, pretty much.
And let Ray be special referee. Fuck it. Put everybody involved.
Next topic on our episode today is Chad Gable and his contract and his free agency status heating up. The fact that he's in this feud with Sami Zayn for the IC championship, but I believe his contract is already up.
He's going to win.
So what is he on, a handshake deal or appearance?
Yeah, deal? I think it's either two things. It's either he's on a handshake deal or he already secretly signed a long-term deal, right?
And they probably, I would think that I don't if I don't remember right, WWE doesn't really do handshake deals, so he has to be resigned.
Yeah, and there's already massive interest, heating up from AEW, right? And again, take it for what you want, but according to Meltzer, not me, not us, Meltzer, WWE has extended an excellent offer to Gable, but no agreement has been reached yet. And we know that Gable and Zayn are having an upcoming match at Clash of the Castle. And I feel like that's where Chad Gable finally becomes IC champion. And I say this because everybody thinks that Otis will be the factor that will allow Zayn to, capture the title. I think it's going to be the Creed brothers. I think we've seen time and time again Chad Gable talking backstage to the Creed brothers, and it's only a matter of time till that happens. And I feel like WWE is not going to build up Chad Gable, right? Unless they're not going to if they're not going to use them, they're not going to build Chad Gable up.
Right.
So the fact that they're, I love these backstage segments where like you kind of get an idea of what's going to happen in the future, right? Or what's going to happen next. So the fact that Chad Gable keeps talking to the Creed brothers allows us to think that, all right, the Creed brothers are soon to turn heel and align themselves with Chad Gable, right? And if that happens, we're definitely seeing a new Intercontinental champion at Clash.
He's winning. Why would you? If he does not win and he walks, we'll just say if he walks, there's so many places he can go to. And he's such a great talent. You have done so long building this guy to being a legitimate talent. You should have given him the shot against Gunther in the first place. You didn't. So you missed the boat on that. But it was a misstep that was premeditated because you want to build him even more. And now that decision is working out perfectly.
Right.
You can't not give him the belt. Sami Zayn does not need a belt to be relevant. Sami Zayn is one of the top wrestlers on the roster. He does not need a belt to be good. Chad Gable is nothing without a belt. You need to put a statement on what his status is on the roster on a weekly basis.
Mm-hmm.
Some people don't need belts. For example, Randy Orton does not need a belt. Logan Paul looks like now he's cemented himself. He does not need a belt to be relevant. Kevin Owens does not need a belt. AJ Styles does not need a belt. Cody, same thing. And the further down the line you go, you see wrestlers that go, where have they been? What are they on the roster? Are they enhancement talents? Are they just good? Jey Uso does not need a belt. He should get a belt, but doesn't need a belt.
He probably will.
How long is LA Knight? For how long?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No belt.
Yeah, I think
He's
which
got
is
himself into that level on the talent.
yeah, which is why I believe Gable's best bet is re-signing with WWE.
Well, yeah,
Um,
I think AEW is too crowded and everything else, and
it's not only too crowded; it's just that you know, once they signed somebody, right, they're having trouble putting them on the show, showcasing them, booking them right in matches. I feel like they're very disorganized in that department. Yes, AEW is like getting an offer from AEW is very attractive, right? Obviously, also the money because it might be higher. Tony Khan can outbid WWE. Put it that way, right? But in terms of like, it's what a wrestler truly wants, right? It's either do you want the money, right, or do you want to work, you know, do you want to be showcased as a wrestler, right? And if you want to be showcased, that's where WWE comes in. I mean, look, perfect example, Ethan Page. I'm just going to name one. Ethan Page. He was wasted in AEW. Clearly wasted in AEW. Goes on to NXT and is already in the main event at NXT Battleground, right? And going after the NXT Championship, right?
yeah.
So and Ethan Page, we've mentioned on the podcast, is somebody who has tremendous potential, right? It's just that Tony Khan never knew how to unlock that potential. He tried that in AEW, then shifted Ethan Page to Ring of Honor. That failed. And now Ethan Page is like, okay, I'm going to bet on myself. And now went to NXT, which is why I think Gable is re-signing. And, I don't think, re-signing will allow Gable to finish his quest of becoming IC champion. We move on with Tiffany Stratton. Tiffany Stratton, it was reported this week that she plans on moving to become an actress, right? After 5 or 6 years, she's still relatively young. Obviously, just got called up to the main roster, but she recently signed with a talent agency, and after wrestling, she wants to pursue acting in Hollywood. So
Why not?
Do you think she's a fit for Hollywood?
Yeah. There's a lot of wrestlers today that have gone to Hollywood and been successful. Like the success rate for a lot of wrestlers now more than ever. For example, Rock, Batista, John Cena are the three probably more prevalent ones, right? Sasha Banks, now Mercedes Moné, has I don't know if it's a recurring role, but she had her pit stops in Disney, right, with the Mandalorian. That's another one. You have other wrestlers like the Big Show had a shot, or Paul White. Randy Orton had a couple of bits and pieces. CM Punk has a movie. Stone Cold did like 15, 20 movies. He had a couple of blockbusters with the Expendables, right? But why not get if the big three obviously is Cena, Batista, and Rock, right? Rock's got all the blockbusters. Cena's got recurring roles in TV shows, and Batista probably has the more, I don't want to say blockbuster, like money making movies, but he's got more. He's probably the best out of those three. He's probably the best actor. He's got so many top tier roles on very well credited movies. So the groundwork's been labeled down. It's not like the days of, Hulk Hogan, or like other stuff like that, where it's just terrible acting, but the A's were terrible acting altogether, right? You have seen everybody leave, do a role, and come back, right? Kane, who says three things in 10 years, had a little thing on so he could speak, got 3 movies, right? WWE.
I mean, that was a perfect fit for Kane. See no evil.
You can find a role anywhere because you got a person. Tiffany Stratton's personality, her character.
I think
one.
Yeah. I think like her character, also her beauty. She's very beautiful.
Yeah.
And then I think her biggest, I guess you could say, asset that she has is her athletic ability.
Yeah, you can find a role anywhere in Hollywood.
Yeah. So, yeah.
I hope she goes and takes her, year, maybe 2 years off in between when in between contracts.
I actually hope she like focuses on like the main roster because the fans are behind her, and I feel like
I think this is years down the line. I don't think this is currently she's going to do it.
no. This is like 5 years down the line.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is when I think when she's fully, when she hangs it up and she's completely done with wrestling, then
Right.
Stars come and go all the time. We've seen everybody say, "Oh, John Cena. Oh, I'll never leave. Oh, this is life." Now he's making millions doing a bunch of top tier films.
Right.
It's cool, bro. We get it.
Yeah.
At least you're honest about it. Don't be lying like a lot of people do.
Yeah, exactly.
Yo, so are we gonna talk about Braun Breaker's monster push?
Yo, when I read, I forgot who I got it from, but I saw in an excerpt that he is going to be the face of the Netflix run. When it first starts, he's going to be the number one pushed talent.
Was it
established, right? Know that.
Was it the Bleacher Report? Because I know there's a dude you follow.
I don't know if it was Bleacher Report, but I got it off. I don't know if it was off Threads or off. Actually, it might have been Bleacher Report. It might have been off them, but they even said like he's being groomed. I'll use that term. He's being groomed to being the number one wrestler come time for the Netflix run. Everybody's established, right? Nobody's really like in development, but Braun Breaker.
Yeah. I mean, and I think a lot of people think highly of Braun Breaker.
Yeah.
I mean, look at his body of work in NXT, right? Was unstoppable, became NXT champion after he lost the NXT championship, turned heel, right? Then he was on the end of some losses, but I feel like that was all to like test him to see how he, how his character would react to that. But just the fact that and then he teamed up with Corbin and even helped Corbin's career because Corbin at one point we were just like, oh, okay, Corbin. But then when he started teaming up with Corbin, relevant again, right?
Now he's a solo face, solo heel. Then he worked the tag team. So you got all that taken care of.
So I feel like after his excellent run at NXT, it's like, all right, you're going to be rewarded. Gets put on the main roster and is already feuding with two of the most talented guys in WWE, in Ricochet, right, and Dragunov.
Yeah.
So and the beauty of this is that he's only 26 years old.
He's in his prime.
It's not like he's 30. He's I don't think he's even reached his prime.
No, he's still there.
Which is
Brock Lesnar push.
You know what's crazy? He's not even. He hasn't like the fact that he hasn't reached his prime. It's scary.
It's my hot take. He's gonna get a Brock Lesnar push.
And then I see a lot of people like on Twitter was like, oh, eventually, like in the future, they should pair him up with Heyman. That's not a bad idea.
What did they do? I said it. What did he do with Brock when he first came up? Yo, Paul.
Yeah, I mean, Braun Breaker's not bad on the mic. Let me tell you, he's not bad on the mic.
He's better than Brock will ever be.
But having Paul Heyman, I mean, that's intriguing right there.
Yeah.
The
wise man. Let's call him that.
Yeah.
I'll believe that. Just be the new advocate. Give me a Breaker versus Lesnar match in like 2 years.
Two things yesterday from yesterday's episode of Friday Night SmackDown. The new bloodline being official. Basically, Solo now is the head of the table, or what do you want to call it, the tribal chief. Then he appoints Tama Tonga as the right hand man, and then for Loa, basically calling him infamous.
Where's that little kid meme? That bullshit.
A bullshit.
Yeah.
And Paul Heyman will remain the wise man, but the fact is that Solo keeps disrespecting Paul Heyman, which I think will eventually trigger the return of Roman Reigns. Just the fact that Solo keeps saying, that he keeps talking to Roman Reigns, I think it's only a matter of time till Roman Reigns takes him out. But Roman Reigns is going to have some backup. He's going to need some backup. And I feel like we can mention that later on. But this new bloodline is scary. Now, we're still waiting. Are they getting a new member?
So
Yeah.
from
I think what it is right now.
what I read recently, they're supposed to be getting Jacob debuting, but what the reason why, I don't know if it was legit or not, is they're scared to have Jacob debut because they think he's going to be more over than Solo, and they don't
Yeah.
want him to overshadow Solo. So in the essence of overshadowing Solo, I think it would be smart to pair him with Roman's side, and then somehow have one or two other people appear for the bloodline on Solo side. So there's so many, like I said, there's so many layers to the story, and so many people you could plug in. It's
Yeah,
just
that family tree is like never ending.
it's so hard to pinpoint exactly. I mean, yeah, I agree. It's so hard to pinpoint exactly what you can do because let's be honest, like right now we've only focused on the men. Like we didn't even focus on the women part of it. So like there's so many layers to the story that the bloodline story could go on for years.
Yeah.
And they could just have layers to it. So I mean it's crazy, but it was interesting. I feel like they're teasing Paul Heyman sort of defecting from Solo at some point. The
He
season
about to get beat the fuck up, get sent away, come back in 2 months with Roman. Get him, Roman. Get him, tribal chief. You're the real tribal chief.
it's gonna be interesting. Like I said, SummerSlam is gonna be one of the bigger events of the year.
Yep.
The future of SummerSlam, as we know, was recently announced that SummerSlam will be going to 2 nights per year now. Starting in 2025 or 2026. Correct me if I'm wrong, one of those years.
I think it's next year. So
Next
Yeah, I
year.
think it's next year. Yeah.
And the long-term plans for the core 4 pay-per-view is to have them be 2 nights. So Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, SummerSlam.
So
Survivor Series.
actually, I like SummerSlam being 1 night. I would not mind seeing the Rumble being 2 nights, to be quite honest.
Well, the plan is they want to have the men's Rumble 1 night. The women's
Yeah, I kind of like hesitant about that, but the more I thought about it, I was like,
well, you could showcase. So here's the thing.
It's smart because
What we talked about earlier. AEW, and I'm just gonna go. AEW has a problem getting all the wrestlers on the show. So if you showcase your wrestlers on 2 nights, you technically could fill a card of 7 matches per night and get a lot of your wrestlers featured on the card, whether it's wrestling in the ring or backstage segments. You're
Right.
getting them the airtime they need. And if you're doing it for the core 4 pay-per-views, which are the biggest 4 pay-per-views of the year, Royal Rumble makes sense. The men's Rumble could close out night 2. The women's Rumble could close out night 1. Banger.
Yeah.
Period. Survivor Series, it makes sense. You have the men's War Games match one night, the women's another. You know, there's so many possibilities.
Whatever generates money, man.
Yeah. There's so many
They saw the
possibilities.
success. They saw the success for WrestleMania, and it's like, all right, let's do that for the core 4 of the pay-per-views, right?
And I think it's
the first one, like, this isn't too bad. And
It's
they
a
together,
genius it's a genius way.
Well, we work with no crowds, then I work with crowds. And then here's something core 4. I'm like,
Yeah, like, and that's the thing. WWE, like, they pay attention to how the crowd reacts because, there's viral videos on YouTube, right, where people are like, I should have gotten tickets to night 1, or I should have gotten tickets to night 2, and then what do they make you do? Buy both tickets, and then it's like you pay more. But moving on, so after last week's beautiful segment of AJ Styles teasing his retirement, pulling a Mark Henry, then attacking Cody Rhodes, hitting Rhodes with the Styles Clash off the steel steps. Rhodes,
which is an insane spot too.
Right. Rhodes out for revenge. Gave AJ Styles his rematch, so AJ Styles will finally get another opportunity. But this time there's a stipulation tied to this match. So now Cody Rhodes is set to defend the WWE title in an I Quit match against AJ Styles at WWE Clash at the Castle.
It's gonna be interesting.
Yeah,
I mean,
with it.
I mean, we already know honestly who's gonna win the match.
Yeah,
but like I said, AJ Styles and Cody Rhodes have put on good matches before. Really?
Yeah,
good.
I don't. So it's interesting because it's like AJ Styles has gone publicly saying that his end is near, right? So the fact that this is an I Quit match, I don't know if this might be AJ Styles' last match. I don't know what his contract situation is, but he just recently said that he would like to finish his career with WWE. So the fact that we all know Cody Rhodes is not saying I quit.
No, and
We
not only that,
just know, and then we know that the OC is going to get involved in some capacity in this match, right?
and I'm going to piggyback off you, so about AJ wants to finish his career in WWE. He is, but I do think that crossover we've been talking about with TNA happens, and I do see AJ going to TNA for one final match too. Against who?
Who knows?
I don't
Who
know.
knows? Listen, if there is a TNA versus WWE segment or program, right? You can move AJ Styles to TNA to lead TNA
and the OC.
right? So yeah, it could happen, right? We're just
Listen. I'm
sharing ideas, right?
I'm gonna say this about the TNA thing. One match I want to see is Javon versus Slater, one of the two hottest aerial guys in the business right now.
Yeah,
that match would be a fucking 5-star match. Those moves that they perfect, those two dudes. Oh my god.
Yeah, they make it seem so easy, but
bro, a shooting star. Yo, I don't even want to say the move. It's insane. Nuts. I can't wait. I'm excited.
All right, so, and then we have a couple of AEW news. Penta and Cero Miedo to test free agency. I mean, listen, he's debating it, right?
Thank you for saying it, because I probably would have butchered it, so I appreciate it.
Penta el Cero Miedo. So he tried to what we believe he's trying to apply the trademark for his name, right? He's trying to, I guess, extend the trademark or deal or trying to buy it again, because there's options out there, right? His AEW contract, we believe, is coming up, and if he wants, let's say, there's also the report that WWE would be interested in signing him, and if WWE does sign him, Penta wants to keep the name. He doesn't want to use any other name. He wants to keep the name, so that's why he's trying to buy the rights or extend the rights. I forgot what it is. It's very smart. Very smart. So I know Penta and his brother Phoenix signed multi-year deals with AEW August of 2021. So usually AEW deals are like 3 to 5 years, maybe
something
in
like
that kind of range.
Right.
So the fact that they're mentioning or bringing up free agency, that must mean it must have been a 3-year deal. Now again, AEW can extend the current deal, depending how long Penta has been out due to injuries. So yeah, we truly don't know when it's up, but the fact that this topic is being brought up should be eye-opening, because he is a tremendous talent, right? We've seen him everywhere, AAA, Lucha Underground, TNA or Impact, whatever, AEW. So just imagine him in WWE. Like it would be interesting, but I would say, like, AEW, he's been a great fit in AEW. So if he resigns with AEW, I don't think anybody would be mad with that. I think everybody's just intrigued with the idea of seeing Penta in WWE NXT, because it's like it's unfamiliar territory for him. So then we have MJF versus Roosh. That's the program they're going with. To be honest with you, this just legit came out of nowhere. I thought, all right, when MJF returns, it's going to be MJF, Adam Cole, but Adam Cole is still nursing that injury. So now, it's Roosh, the one feuding with MJF. Just real quick, what are your thoughts on this?
It's a way to push Roosh Honestly,
That's how I see. I see the same things. Like, okay,
you're here to push Roosh. Yeah, he doesn't have the strongest mic skills, but his in-ring skills do the talking, and it's interesting to you. But not only that, you taking out of the MGF promo, you also see that he targeted other people as well. Will Ospreay, Swerve.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's so many programs that he teased on there, and so many little tidbits he threw in his promo that were interesting. And getting Roosh is going to be interesting too, because honestly, MJF gave him his props, but he also shit on him at the same time, which MJF always does. So,
and real quick, what do you guys think about MJF's new gimmick of like the lone wolf?
it reminds me of Triple H's the way he's been dressing Triple H when he came back from multiple injuries back in the day, when he wore the denim jackets and everything like that, and the biker things. It sort of has the Triple H vibes to it. So I sort of appreciate MJF giving appreciation to Triple H. So that's also dope as well. But yeah, the lone wolf is good. He's going by himself. MJF being with another wrestler doesn't really work, even though it was gold with Adam Cole. But let's be honest.
B, do you think MJF made the right decision re-signing with AEW?
yeah. Why would he not? He's the face of the company.
I mean, he wasn't going to turn down Tony Khan's money.
Yeah, at the end of the day, if he was who could I put it down? So he's not a dying star like Jericho, right? Even though Jericho went back to WWE, cool, get one last run, retire, right? Adam Copeland, same thing. Christian Cage, same thing.
The learning.
Not saying they're bad now, but
that shit is so
they
terrible.
see more life. They see more good times behind them than in front of them. Right?
I don't mean to cut you off, but can we talk about how terrible of a fucking gimmick that is?
What?
The learning tree?
Learning tree. It's
you're a hater, bro. Like,
what the fuck were they thinking with that? Like, Jericho has so many. But that was a
no. He is a legend in every way.
Jericho. That man got you
correct.
Gave you love, blood, sweat, and tears all through your entire life.
The list.
So he has a bad gimmick. Ooh.
Yeah, but my thing is, it's not working right now. So get it, even MJF shit. Yeah. Well, yeah.
Let's just call it how it is. If we get brutally honest about things, let's call it how it is. Jericho has not been good as a whole in about 7 months. Since the allegations came out, whether they've been resolved or unresolved, I'm not going to put my input on that. He has not really been the same person. And
I don't know. I think
you are where you are in your career.
I think, his best work, again, was in the beginning with the whole Inner Circle thing. And then it just, ever since after that, everything he's done, it's like he's tried to make relevant, but it's quickly fizzled out.
The relevancy was his originality. It just has not worked out.
I feel like in MJF's promo, he took a shot at people too, Jericho being one of them.
Yeah, why wouldn't you?
Like
I said, content has been stale at the entire roster. MJF is fresh, he's original, and he's unapologetic. And that is what Jericho was in WWF, WWE, when he made his rounds across the world in Ring of Honor. And now when he first came in,
let's not forget WCW.
He was so original. It was great. He brought his actual band, a reality-based product, and used it for himself. And it was perfect. Now you're just trying different things because you're running out of time. You know your time. I give him a year before it's like, I'm about done. Whereas Bryan Danielson, who is still hot and still fresh, he's done. What a great segue. He's got a year. This is his last run.
Yeah,
he's leaving before it goes bad.
Kind of ties into
our
next segment.
He's gonna win. He's gonna win the cup. He's gonna win the cup, retire on the cup, and run it through to the very end.
Yeah.
And that is something we could appreciate. Jericho has to go back to being original, to be anything, to be relevant and be enjoyable. You could be an asshole. We don't care. We love Jericho the asshole. We love Jericho the good guy. Love Jericho the bad guy. It don't matter. Bryan Danielson, for example, has been pure all the way through. He's been original as a face, as a heel, Daniel Bryan, Team Hell No. The Yes movement was something I think today is probably the top 5 greatest movements in all of wrestling altogether.
The eco movement.
People hated that, but people still cheered and booed the fuck out of them for it. That's
Yeah.
heavy boos, heavy cheers. It's a benefit of having a character.
The no movement.
Yeah, like that. He's gonna go out, and when it's all said and done, and I'm with another hot take, you're gonna have a conversation with Bryan Danielson being top 10 all time. When it's all said and done, when you wrap up this last run, it's time for
I'm trying to debate it. I'm trying to like quickly list 10 off the top of my head.
Face was priceless.
I'm dead at. That's an honest.
No. I'm trying to not. You said like possibly top 10 when it's all done, and I'm trying to think. I think in ring, yes. I'm trying to think overall. I'm still trying to figure that out. But in ring, yeah, possibly there is. I'm just trying to think that through. But I think when it comes to Bryan Danielson, I feel like this is his final countdown, right? And this is where
right, with his music and all that too.
I feel like this is going to be his last Cinderella run or story, whatever you want to call it. I think it's gonna be very similar to the story in WWE with him and the Authority being a B+ player, whatever, and him finally capturing the championship. I think it's going to be something like that. I feel like he's going to go on this run. I think he's going to win the Owen Cup. He should win the Owen Hart Cup, and he should be granted a chance to fight for the AEW World Championship. And you know what? He should win the AEW World Champion.
Can I say one thing? If he does do that, and once he retires, like him being a writer or agent, whatever he may be, he's going to excel. I know they say he's going to be a part-time thing, but whatever he decides to do, man, he's a genius.
Yeah,
he's fantastic
in the wrestling.
One bad thing he does.
And to be honest, I don't see him back in WWE after his current run ends, because I feel like Tony Khan has like trusted him so much that I think he's gonna. Yeah, I think he's going to have some huge backstage role in AEW. I mean, I think
they need that though. So that was
I think he'll return to AEW. I mean, to WWE, excuse me, for one day, maybe for like Hall of Fame thing. But in terms of like ending his wrestling career, it's going to be AEW, and then after that, it's just going to be some like backstage role, like some
I'd probably say like a writer.
Yeah. Or creative, whatever the case may be. And then we're down to the final 2 topics. We did NXT, WWE, AEW. Now let's do some TNA. So as you know, Jordan Grace will have an open challenge at TNA against All Odds. And again, we've seen Jordan Grace make a shocking appearance, right? Being Roxanne Perez's challenger. For the NXT Women's title at NXT Battleground, right? So now the fact that Jordan Grace is having an open challenge means a surprise challenger, right? And I feel like we're gonna get that from NXT. TNA was kind enough to give NXT Jordan Grace. I feel like NXT will repay the favor. Now, who will it be? You can name a lot of different people, right? But I just feel like with what transpired this past week's episode of NXT, I think it's going to be Tatum Paxley, because she kind of like seemed obsessed with the TNA Knockouts Championship.
So what about, since you picked Tatum, let me piggyback on that.
Yeah.
2 more names. Let's do 3 each.
Yeah.
So you got 2 more. You picked Tatum. Who else?
I think Natalya should be one.
Okay.
And I don't know, maybe Roxanne Perez should return the favor.
Right. All right, that's good. So B, what about you? 3 names.
I think Natalya should go. I agree with Soto on that. I think whoever loses, whoever is the hottest wrestler losing in this whole summit is women's heavyweight summit,
Mhm.
On the ladder match,
North American summit, I should say. Whoever loses is probably gonna go and
So if you
have
said
that with.
whoever loses, who would be the most logical choice then of that match?
I don't know. I don't have a definite who's actually gonna win. I want Michin to win, right?
Okay.
But if Michin were to lose, I think her doing a move
Well,
to
the
TNA would be
the history with Jordan Grace makes sense, and that was one of the
right.
names.
So that's for one.
Meechin has history in TNA.
So like, that's probably the only thing I really think of. I think Natty should go, right? Because she's done everything in from Raw, SmackDown, NXT. She's done everything several
Right.
times over. So
And
Yeah.
that's a
she
good.
wanted to fight Jordan Grace, so that's 2. Okay, so you got 2. So who's your third?
So and I don't know. Who's who? Piper Niven? I don't know. Somebody from the main roster who's not getting airtime.
So I mean, for me, I
Niven has a match coming up pretty soon.
got 3 here. So first one I'm gonna say is also history in TNA, Chelsea Green.
She
As
has
soon as as soon as B said Piper Niven, the name Chelsea Green just
So yeah,
popped into my head.
and the reason why I said that is because obviously we saw the chemistry between Chelsea Green and Ariana Grace. So that would be another name possible because obviously she was in the promo too backstage with Tatum. So Ariana Grace, Chelsea Green, and then my other one was between Michin and Natalia. But I do like Soto's answer about Roxanne Perez showing up. So that would be an interesting one too.
If Roxanne goes fresh off of winning tomorrow, that makes all the sense in the world that you're gonna have a full. There's no restraints when it comes to TNA and NXT or TNA and WWE in general. There's like the whole forbidden door. There's no more forbidden door. There's just all right. You come through. We're swapping left and right. You're putting a top star in your division into another company, not caring. So you can swap whoever. So you can get Trick versus Moose in like a month. You can get the OC back in TNA and taking out whoever may be. You may see Dolph Ziggler. Oh, what's his name again?
Nick Nemeth.
Nick
Yeah,
Nemeth.
Nick Nemeth, the Nemesis, Nick Nemeth, going back to WWE and hang on NXT for whatever, right? You can see Baron Corbin transition over. Like there's a lot of if Roxanne Perez is in fact the first one to go, and against all odds, the floodgates are wide open.
So I think Roxanne Perez probably will be it. To be honest, though, I think that's a great answer that you have.
That's probably the most likely answer.
That's probably
I feel like if they really wanted to, let's just say if they could have a trilogy, Roxanne picks up the victory here, right? Then Roxanne answers the challenge in which Jordan Grace picks up 1-1. What do you do in a 1-1 situation? Title versus title.
At SummerSlam.
I don't know if and that's the thing. Where would that match take place? Would it take place in NXT? Would it take place in WWE? I mean, that's up for debate. But I feel like with Jordan Grace, the open challenge. I mean, the people that I mentioned, they just all fit, like Tatum Paxley again teased it. Becoming obsessed with the championship in a backstage segment.
Well, I would say just a champion. She's been obsessed with any championship.
With any championship, right. And then Natalia, obviously, being an OG, she's done everything in WWE. You can, have her.
So
and then Roxanne Perez just came. I just thought about Roxanne Perez as you were asking me because I was like, all right, if Jordan Grace answered the challenge for Roxanne Perez, Roxanne Perez could do the same.
So my question is, and this is just a question piggyback off since we're talking about open challenges and everything like that, future whoever's going to appear on ever. So I'll start with B first. So B, when it comes to TNA, since we had Jordan Grace cross over into NXT and WWE in general because she did the Rumble and she did NXT, who are the next 3 superstars you think will cross over from TNA into NXT or WWE? And any point in time, because we got Survivor Series, which everybody's been hyping
Is
up.
Matt Cardone still on?
He is a free agent. He's working on the Indies. He's not signed.
Woo.
He's not currently signed to any promotion as of yet. And if he resigns, I think he's going back to WWE as Matt Cardona, not as Zack Ryder.
No. I have to have.
He said in numerous interviews he does not want to go back to Zack Ryder. So that's my friend.
I would have Mustafa Ali would definitely be a chance. There'll be opportunity because why wouldn't you?
Right? What about somebody we have? What about somebody we haven't seen, like a new name?
Haven't?
Yeah, because we got Mustafa. He's been in WWE, so somebody we haven't seen.
Mars and Edwards.
Which one?
Bryan Myers, Eddie Edwards. Or was Edwards on? Edwards on WWE.
Bryan Myers and Eddie Edwards. I didn't think about them too.
Eddie Edwards hasn't. So that would be a good one.
So
okay, so you got one. So what about two more?
I'm scrolling down to see what else in the roster.
Well, he said Bryan Myers.
Bryan Myers was in WWE, so
okay.
Oh, so I got the entire roster, and I totally forgot that when you change your name, okay, well, this person, and it's like, yo, you're not hiding. Yeah, so we talked about before how Mercedes Moné has not changed your gimmick at all. So I'm scrolling through like the roster here, right? So,
I'm eager
to
so bad.
So, can we talk about the fact that AJ Francis has not really looks like, what are you doing? Like, we all know you're top dollar.
So I'm thinking about three names that never appeared in WWE, and WWE's had heavy interest with them.
I can't really think of
Steve Madison.
Crazy Steve. I don't know. I don't know who that should be a prevalent,
So we got Mike Bailey. That's one that WWE's been interested in for a while. You got Moose.
I would say Moose, but I say Moose. At any given time, like that.
Okay.
That's perfect.
Moose is a big.
You can put him anywhere.
Josh Alexander.
I was going to say those three, Henry.
Huh?
Those three.
Well, I got more, but I'm just giving you three.
Okay, so thank God. So thank God none of you guys said it. All right. How could you not say Joe Hendry?
I was just going to say that was one of the ones.
How could you not say Joe Hendry?
Well, I want to be fair because I don't want to say all the obvious names because Joe Hendry.
Listen, there's a lot of people that can cross over. Joe Hendry being one of them. You mentioned Josh Alexander. Obviously, there's ties there with Ethan Page now in NXT. I mean, you could do something there. I do see Ace Austin, somebody with that talent.
Hammerstone would be good.
Yeah, Hammerstone. Yeah. I'm trying to think who else.
Masha Stanovich.
Masha, yeah.
Yeah,
Masha.
No, Matt Cardona is TNA.
Oh, Chris Bay.
Chris Bay, yeah.
Yeah, Chris Bay. So yeah, there is a lot you can do, right?
You can also get Killer Kelly too. Remember, she appeared.
Well, Killer Kelly, I think, I don't know. She's currently a free agent, but
she has a deal with them.
But yeah, but wouldn't be opposed to returning to.
Right.
Yeah. But
Shogun?
Who?
Shogun.
Mm.
I'm looking through here, and I don't
know. I'm just
further down the line I go. I'm like, yo, everybody.
I mean, you could. I'm just thinking of names, but there's one name that I mentioned earlier that I would love to see would be Leon Slater.
Rich Swann.
He appeared in WWE. I'm thinking more.
I said, but everybody here is former.
Yeah, I'm just thinking. Well, not all of them.
Well, I think Henry was trying to say like original who.
I know. I'm looking through. I'm like the ones that I want to see are already. They've already been here.
We know the significance with Jordan Grace. Obviously, she was in the promo a long time ago with Shawn Michaels when he had the chef hat on and he was cooking.
Yeah,
Heaven Knight.
So I mean, I'm thinking of people who never appeared. Because
I think out of all the ones, I think either Moose or Joe Hendry seem to be like the top two. I mean, obviously we would love to see other people, but I think Moose and Joe Hendry right now because Moose, because he's always said that he would join the Royal Rumble, WWE's Royal Rumble, and I think he would be a good fit there. And then Joe Hendry, especially with his popularity, the way he skyrocketed. Imagine a segment of Joe Hendry and LA Knight. That would be hilarious.
Give me Moose and Ace Austin. I'll take those two.
Okay.
But we're not gonna forget that AJ
Soto.
Francis, like, yo, bro, like, you couldn't like change your entire ideal to be something different.
So what about Soto? So Soto, you said Joe Hendry. Who else?
I said Joe Hendry. I said Josh Alexander. And then if I had to pick, I think it's a combination. I mean, they are a tag team, so Ace Austin and Chris Bay.
Yeah, I'm thinking of names that never appeared because
scratch that, the Rascals.
Yeah, but here's the thing. So like, I'm thinking it because if TNA is doing the deal, they want to get exposure for wrestlers that people don't know, but at the same time, WWE wants to help them with that and get that exposure, but also tease the possibility of crossover. So that's my logic of it. Now, if we're going to WWE route, Nick Nemeth makes sense. Mustafa Ali makes sense.
Yeah.
Ryan Myers makes sense.
You want to bring your
Santino makes sense.
I mean, listen, if they ever do that, those are names that can lead the charge for TNA against WWE, right? And then our very last topic is the return of the Hardy compound. I feel like a lot of people are into every time Matt Hardy has one of those crazy matches in his house, right, or the Hardy compound.
Can't go wrong.
But yes, it is returning. It's set. Yeah,
you can't go wrong. It's just it's that became a staple of old school wrestling. I mean, let's not forget that Jeff Hardy was wrestling at 16 years old on TV, right? That's come a long way, him doing stuff at the compound till now.
Listen, we've seen so many surprises with the Hardy compound. Listen, we once saw the Hurricane. So I'm just saying, like, I think it's going to be really, really fun to see the system visiting the Hardy compound. And
it'll be fun.
Because like, what's crazy? Matt Hardy's kids is going to get involved, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
You have generations of wrestling involved.
No, Rebby's going to get involved.
She's a head case.
So I'm interested. I'm interested to see in what capacity. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, that will do it. Yeah, for all the topics.
Yeah, we're all done. Yeah,
I mean,
some hour and change. Y'all tuned in. Y'all stay tuned in. We got a long way to go. That was today's episode of the Sunset Wrestling Podcast. We appreciate you guys tuning in week in, week out, as always. If y'all haven't gotten hold of the link tree,
real quick, we have a special request.
A special
no, I'm sorry, not request. I'm sorry. Scratch that. Shout out. And it's shout out to Senor Senpai for turning 50 tomorrow.
You're 50 years old tomorrow?
I'm not 50.
Why you lying? I knew it.
Henry, I didn't know you were 50.
Oh, bitch.
I'll be 36. I ain't gonna be 50.
Nah, why you lying, bro?
Are you lying? Are you calling Steph Fizzle a liar?
That's your wife too, right? You lying in front of your wife. In front of it's over, bro. Yo, that's it.
I'm not 50, but okay.
No. You lying about your age. Now you're lying to your wife. You're lying for your wife. That's terrible, bro.
That's crazy. You're calling. You guys have vows.
Yeah. In about 10 years, you look in the archives and you're something like, Mom, how is Dad? A fucking liar. He's not. He's
Unbelievable.
66 now.
Look at that.
Look at that rude. What's wrong with you, bro?
The fact that
the you laughing mad nervous for the
fact that it says happy life, happy wife, and
my face is red because that's funny. 50. That cracked.
So we're looking for someone. We're looking for a new co-host because
50.
I don't think Henry's gonna make it to next week.
Yeah. It's all good, man. Like, shout out to you, but I'm not lying. If he said you're 50, you're 55. Why you?
55.
Hey, Henry, you got some nerve.
I'm gonna have to order from the 55 plus menu.
That's your real background in the camera. That's not your real background. That's not your house. This is my watch. This is my man cave. So his house. But you don't have a piano in your house.
I did not. Well, I did know how to play piano, not anymore. But
That's not. I'm saying you got stone and sand. Is that a hardwood floor? You don't got a fresh carpet.
I don't even know what it is. It looks like a hardwood floor. It could be carpet.
Is that a fireplace? you got a piano and a fireplace on one floor. Yeah, you're not 36. You're 50.
No, but in all seriousness, though, early happy birthday to you.
Yes.
Hope you enjoy your special day, with family. So
appreciate it.
Much love and blessings to you.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
What's she cooking for you?
I think we're gonna go out.
What are you getting? Surf and turf.
I think we're just gonna go to the movies, maybe watch a horror movie or something.
I thought we should watch Planet of the Apes.
Maybe. I really want to see Deadpool next month. That's the one I really want to see.
That's next month. You'll be 36. Next thing you don't have, bro. It's over. Anyways, that'll do it for us in today's episode of the Sunset Flip Wrestling Podcast. Link she's down at the bottom. You want to tune in for the audio. We are live on Apple, we are on Spotify, we are live on Google Podcasts. Anywhere you get your audio from, we have it. If you want to watch the latest episode, you can watch it on Instagram Live. You can watch it on YouTube, Twitch, Twitter. If you want to get the saved episodes, we have them coming via StreamYard. Anywhere you want it, we have it. The updates on Threads, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, wherever you need it, we got it for you. Well, Henry, enjoy your funeral. Soto, I will see you next week.
One thing I want to add. I know we talked about.
Bro, just go.
No. This is about wrestling. What I'm gonna just say this so we have us thinking. How interesting would it be if we get Cody versus Roman again, but the roles are reversed?
In what way?
Cody's the heel, Roman's the face.
Cody can't be heel. That'd be nice, but I don't think Cody can be heel.
So those faces, like, that's interesting.
Yeah, I can't see Cody being the heel. I don't see Stardust coming back.
Never say never in wrestling.
I mean, to be honest with you, you could see. Listen, whenever Roman comes back, he's probably going to surpass Cody as the face.
Correct.
And let's say eventually, I'm not saying now, but I'm saying eventually, like, or years, a year or two from now, you can have Cody Rhodes kind of be a Homelander kind of person.
But would he really be a heel though? Homelander was a bad guy, but he was like, he's a vigilante shit. I didn't watch The Boys.
Food for thought while we end the podcast. I want to end it on that note. Make everybody think. What if Cody becomes a heel and Roman's the face? All I'm saying.
We'll see. But thank you guys for tuning in. And Henry, again, happy birthday.
Appreciate it.
And we'll catch you guys on the next one.
Yes, sir.
Later.